Welcome to today's MobileIron webinar on secure Android management for the everywhere enterprise. My name is Sam Kumarsamy. I'm the Director of Product Marketing for MobileIron. And with me, I have Jay Robinson, who's the Information Systems Engineer from our long-term customer, SAS. So for this, I would like to invite Jay from SAS. And Jay, welcome.
Good to be here.
Jay, so I understand SAS is a big data analytics software and services company. Everybody, I think, worldwide has heard of it. You have over 140 offices in 60 countries. Wow, that's a big company. So, Jay, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your role, your responsibilities, and what are your overall IT challenges with respect to infrastructure, mobility, and security?
Absolutely. First and foremost, awesome to be here. Thank you for inviting me to talk about this. I always look forward to chances to nerd out. My name is Jay Robinson. I'm a systems engineer and mobility architect at SAS Institute. Quick aside about SAS, we're an analytics software company based out of Cary, North Carolina. We provide software and services, including AI, machine learning, cloud, and IoT analytics to customers around the world. I'm a member of the client management team within IT, and we're the guys that are responsible for managing client endpoints at SAS. So basically all of the devices that SAS employees use to do their jobs. So this includes roughly 20,000 Windows clients, 1,000 macOS clients, 10,000 iOS clients, and 2,000 Android clients worldwide. Right now, we currently use MobileIron to manage our iOS and our Android fleet, as well as the MDM portion of macOS management. But that's a discussion for another time. So you've probably guessed, I'm responsible for mobile device management within that group. And I think as we talk about some of the challenges that we faced as SAS initially implemented modern mobile device management, it'll help for me to provide a little bit of background. So stop me if you've heard this one before. Imagine it's the early 2000s. You just updated your BES server. The employers are clicking away on their corporate-owned BlackBerries, and they've got physical keyboards and not a care in the world, right? Life's good. Then iPhones are announced. And soon after, your executives just kind of bring them in, and they say, hey, manage this. All right, so let's fast forward a year or so. You're making peace with the fact that you now have a hybrid environment. You've got multiple management tools and devices to get to the devices that you're managing, and then Androids start to appear. Your employees are purchasing these devices, and they're figuring out how to use them to do their jobs. So you do what any self-respecting IT organization does, and you block them. You block them until you have some means to secure their connections to your internal environment. This is the state that we were in as we approached modern device management years ago. So before we were able to implement an MDM, well, now they're called UEMs, Android devices in our environment could do little more than really just sync mail, contacts, and calendar. And so we approached device management really with the intent to secure as much as possible while preserving the usability of these devices. The end goal being to get out of the way, allow our users to work. So thinking back to some of the initial challenges that we faced as we approached device management, I can break them up into a few different points. We wanted to provide a high level of security. We wanted to provide device choice. We wanted to enable our users to be more productive with these devices. And we wanted to provide a high level of support for our users. And then, of course, we wanted to do all of this without increasing IT resources.
Thank you. So thank you for articulating your IT challenges. Now, with the advent of COVID-19, how has this affected your IT challenges, especially around Android management and security?
Yeah, these are definitely unprecedented times. I bet everybody's tired of hearing that. You can go ahead and check that off your bingo board. I think it speaks to the initial investment in cloud-based tools and technology that the mobile management strategy at SAS has largely been unaffected by this new work arrangement. So I think back to the challenges that we faced and that we keep in mind as we continue to improve device management at SAS. With respect to the Android platform specifically, I would say that we're looking to provide a high level of security. And so for Androids, this required the ability to apply controls consistently and reliably. We also needed to be able to view and report on these devices and then take actions where necessary. So basically, we needed robust MDM controls. We wanted to be able to provide support for a wide range of devices. So the Android population at SAS is almost entirely BYOD and CYOD. These are devices that are purchased by employees, oftentimes without thinking about enterprise management. And so restricting device choice too much would result in less people being able to actually use their devices in this environment. So we wanted to provide device choice for our users. And for Android, this really boiled down to being able to have a consistent and a predictable management experience across all of these devices. We wanted to enable our users to use these mobile devices to be more productive. So being able to deliver configurations, apps and app configurations with minimal user intervention really allowed us to put our users in a position to be successful. We also wanted to be able to provide a high level of end user support. So we have an internal service desk. They're super awesome, by the way. And it was very important for us to provide a tool that gave them visibility into the devices that they're supporting, as well as the ability to perform different device actions. And of course, lastly, we want to do this with existing IT resources. And to do this, we planned on leveraging APIs to automate as many processes and supplement our deployments as possible.
So that is very interesting, your challenges from an Android management perspective. So what was your strategy and what was your selection criteria for a vendor for Android management?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that we kind of approached device management with the intent to secure the devices and then get out of the way. So with regard to Android management, as we looked at different MDMs, we looked for the ability to, well, one, support Android Enterprise. I mean, at this point, it's basically a requirement since device admin is being deprecated. Also, the consistent management experience that comes with Android Enterprise allows us to manage Androids as a platform rather than as the individual devices that make up that platform. Additionally, the different controls that are continually being added help us to continually improve device management at SAS. We look for the ability to deploy and configure both public and private apps. At SAS, we use a number of tools and services, and we want to be able to provide the corresponding apps and tools and then even configure them where possible for our users. And of course, the ability to deploy internally developed apps. We look for the ability to integrate with other vendors because, I mean, it's a wide world out there and no organization wants to get locked into or out of different services. We looked at what APIs were available. Coming into this, we knew we were going to leverage APIs to automate processes and to supplement deployments and just generally improve device management at SAS. And of course, lastly, we looked at day zero support. So typically major endpoint releases on mobile operating systems are the updates that address security vulnerabilities. So you want to be able to support those out of the gate. Now, Android has been moving a lot of this functionality out of major updates and into monthly security patches and in Google Play services. So with respect to Android, day zero support really allows us to simplify our device lifecycle. And so we don't have to worry so much about blocking different operating systems.
So that's very well articulated there. So did you end up choosing MobileIron Cloud, and did you look at any other vendor?
Yeah. So we ended up choosing MobileIron Cloud. We looked at a few other vendors like AirWatch. I think now they've been acquired by VMware. At the time, they didn't meet our needs.
The AirWatch didn't meet your needs, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Correct.
So yeah, and then so what are you using? You indicated initially that you had Windows, Mac OS, Android, and iOS in your environment. So so you're relying for just Android, or could you articulate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so we're currently using MobileIron to manage our iOS fleet and our Android fleet. We also use it for the MDM portion of Mac OS management.
And for Windows, what are you using?
We're using Microsoft tools for Windows. There's a bunch of them out there.
Okay, thank you. We just wanted to be clear on that so that the audience knows how what you're using MobileIron UEM for. So that's fantastic. So as a last component, would you like to articulate any benefits you're reaping from MobileIron Cloud?
Absolutely. So I think it'll help for me to provide a little bit of context. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how SAS manages Androids in our environment overall, and then I'll touch on some of the benefits that kind of stand out to me. So I mentioned earlier, we use Android Enterprise to manage all of our Androids. You guys just heard about how awesome it is and how it's replacing device admin, so I won't get too into that. Androids at SAS are predominantly BYOD and CYOD, so we are using work profile almost exclusively. We've configured MobileIron so that IT can remain really hands-off with the enrollment. Users just kind of go out, they download the MobileIron Go app, they authenticate, they accept our mobile use policy, and then they just follow the prompts to enroll. And as with most things on mobile, it's a super intuitive process, but we have also provided internal documentation in case users run into issues or simply want to know what to expect before enrolling. So once the enrollment begins, we deliver a number of different configurations. We push down trust certificates and SCEP certificates so our devices can authenticate to internal resources and apps securely. We push down Wi-Fi configurations for obvious reasons. Data doesn't grow on trees. We push down a privacy configuration and a lockdown configuration. And this is really how you actually configure the work profile itself. This is where we set things like DLP controls between the work and personal profiles, and verify apps, which is basically turning on play protect app scanning. And then lastly, we deliver an advanced passcode configuration. And this sets the passcode requirements. You can get a little granular with it and touch like timeout, complexity, and biometrics. But there's a lot of different options here. So we deliver all these configurations to dynamic device groups, which gives us the ability to kind of tweak them on the fly with minimal user interruption. Now, in addition to these configurations, we deliver apps and app configurations. So we have a baseline required app payload, and this contains all the apps that we think every SaaS employee should have upon enrollment. So it's like the work profile helper apps like a PDF viewer and a media handler, but also our VPN app, our TFA app, and our mail and communications apps. And these are scoped to user groups, again, so that we can kind of tweak deployments as needed. So for example, employees in our sales organization, as soon as they enroll, will get all the required apps, but then they'll also get our sales tracking app installed automatically. So now to talk about some of the benefits that I think we've seen with MobileIron. So we've been able to deploy and maintain device management for over 12,000 mobile devices globally with a single technical resource. As I mentioned earlier, our initial deployment was really configured so that IT can remain mostly hands-off. But a couple other things that we've done to help this out is we've leveraged MobileIron's API to automate various console maintenance tasks. So like cleaning up the console by deleting old devices that have not checked in X amount of days. We've also done some slightly more complex things like configuring a script that will flag devices with pending configurations for longer than 2 check-ins. This way we can proactively identify potential issues. We support a wide range of devices, and we've been able to implement a really simple device lifecycle process that gracefully ages out old devices, which can be kind of tricky in a BYOD environment. So I mentioned earlier why it's important for us to support this wide range of devices. We're able to do this because there's a consistent management experience with Android Enterprise, and we're also able to keep our minimum requirements really broad. So on the Android platform, we're just saying that these devices need to be Google Play certified, they need to support Android Enterprise, and they can't be rooted. And then on top of that, we just layer in different OS version requirements, and we iterate them every year. So there's a preferred, minimum, blocked, and retired OS version, and each of these statuses sound exactly what they are. Preferred and minimum are the bulk of our Android population, while blocked and retired are the older devices being aged out slowly. Blocked devices can no longer re-enroll, and they'll get periodic notifications about upgrading, and then retired devices, they get retired. So also with MobileIron, we've been able to deploy and manage roughly 70 mobile apps, including several internally developed apps. And being able to configure these apps on the fly for our users has gone a very long way towards enabling our users to be successful. Our VPN app is a great example. Configuring a VPN app has several different steps. And if you miss one of those steps, well, it's not going to work. And that's a call to our service desk or potentially just not using the app. With MobileIron, as soon as that app's installed, it's configured and it's ready to go. User just needs to open it and tap the VPN toggle. We've been able to leverage MobileIron APIs to automate various processes and to supplement our deployment. So I mentioned earlier how we clean up our console using the API, but also we supplement some of our deployments. A great example is our ServiceNow form. It literally just sets an attribute using the MobileIron API. And by keying off of that attribute, I'm able to offer opt-in and opt-out configurations for our users. And we've also been able to integrate with various systems to just improve device management at SAS. So Cisco Identity Services Engine is a great example. We recently set up this configuration to give our WAN and our security teams just more visibility into devices that are connecting into our network. We're also leveraging the Wandera EMM Connect integration to facilitate app enrollment for offices that are using it for data management. And then, of course, lastly is the MobileIron console itself. Just the breadth of information that's available for our service desk really allows them to provide a very high level of support for our end users.
Jay, thank you so much for articulating the success story here between and how you're leveraging MobileIron UEM for Android management and security at SAS. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us.